Diaz, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. The double up, and you already know what it is, man. Hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled with it, man. Thank you. Let's get straight to the video. No more shenanigans, right? So, if you guys aren't up on Cali Legends Media, I advise you go get up on it, man. This guy, he's an OG, man, from Maravilla. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly. Not that he isn't from Maravilla. He's already voiced that himself. But who am I to say where Avato is from without knowing him personally, right? But I recommend his channel. I trip out on it. I like it. I've watched it since the beginning. And he spits a lot of good knowledge that you can't get in college, right? The Avato's very educated and has lived a life. So when I recognize someone who has lived that life in and out of prison, knows what time it is, and is actually from, or allegedly to be from, a barrio that is very notorious and basically holds their own weight, man. You know, you got to give a man respect. You know, it's not easy to live over there in LA and to walk those streets and to survive as long as he has survived. You know, you eventually are going to get caught up. You eventually got to make power moves wearing shower shoes. You got to go through that LA County jail, whichever module it is. And being from Maravilla, man, that's a hard game, especially in the, 2000s, the 90s. It was pretty rough for them guys. You know, I was locked up with a lot of Vatos from Maravilla, so I could tell you right now, they were disliked by many, but respected by all. That's a fact. And I respect Cali Legends Media and what he puts out there as far as in the prison genre and on YouTube. So I came across one of his videos yesterday where he was addressing Jay Hans from Renegade Media, everyone's favorite YouTuber, right? And I've had, my discrepancies with Jay Hans' videos as far as some of the things he was putting out there. But like I said, man, to each their own. Everyone has a lane. And at the end of the day, who am I to tell that man what he can and can't put out? I am not him. I'm not trying to be him. I'm not trying to dictate anyone's program. I'm not in a position to tell people what they can speak on, just like people are not in a position to tell me what I can speak on. But at the same time, I can always throw advice and little diamonds in the rough out there and kind of, trying to look out for a best interest of a fellow YouTuber, a content creator, especially someone I felt that in the beginning, man, had a positive, great message and kind of strayed away from that path. And now people are starting to realize and recognize it. And when I recognized it, I was like, ooh, I don't want to see another Savage Studios. I don't want to see another person, because of the words coming out of their mouth, get hurt or, have it worse than I have it when it comes to the trolls and haters. But everyone's going to have that. That's just what it is. I got a text, in fact, from Jay Hans about a year ago, man, when he was like, how do you deal with all the haters? How do you deal with that? And I told him, I just take it in stride, homie. It's part of the game, and you're going to have thick skin if you do this. And he chose to do it, and he does it well. He puts out a lot of good content, but at the same time, there's some content that he does put out that is questionable, and people want to ask questions about it, or they feel he's getting a little too intricate into the details. Now, I will say this. When you're a content creator, like Jay Hans, myself, Lucky from Cali Legends Media, and several others, Dubs, you want to do your homework. And if you got people that are feeding you information, if you got people that were actually on the spot and can tell you some inside details, it's up to you to vet that and to believe what you're going to believe and put out there what you think is truth. Now, at the end of the day, sometimes it might not be truth. And that's up to you to be a man and be a real one and say, hey, man, I made a mistake. Or, hey, man, I put something out there and I have to double back on it because it wasn't the right thing to do or it wasn't real. But, each dude is going to do what each dude does. And that's it. Everyone's different. People do it for the money. Some do it for the positivity. Some do it for the negativity. Whatever the case may be, Jay Hans puts out what he's going to put out. And again, man, I might not agree with everything, but that man could do whatever the fuck he wants. So I seen Lucky did a video, and it was pertaining to a video that Jay Hans put out about the Pelican Bay incident that happened a while back, already like a year ago, between North and South. And to summarize it real quick, I remember doing a video on it as well when the incident happened. And basically, a norteño got moved on, or an alleged norteño got moved on in the chow hall, right, in the kitchen. And there was basically no repercussions. Now, you need to understand this. We, as a gente, as a people, if you're incarcerated, whether you're in good standings or non-good standings, are in what is called an end to hostilities, right? Something that I never thought as a norteño growing up that I would ever see happen. And that's basically a truce. The end of hostilities is a larger term to basically say a truce between North and South, right? In all the years gangbanging, in all the years, waiting for the door to crack, in all the years being on site or having animosity towards the other side, never did I ever imagine. I always wondered if it could be and what it should be, but I could never imagine it really happening. And it did. We're going on over a decade that there's been an end to hostilities within the California Department of Corrections. Now, this end to hostilities does not stretch out to the streets. This end to hostilities does not stretch out to the county jails. Some county jails abide by or function under CDC rules, but it doesn't affect a lot of the county jails. If a Norteño went to the LA County Jail, they would have to PC him up or put him in his own pod, because I'm going to tell you right now, man, it'd be an ugly situation. Same thing would happen if they put a Southsider in Merced County Jail amongst the collective, the active Norteño pod. It's going to get ugly fast, right? Fuck that end of hostilities when it comes to the counties and the streets. But in prison, it's actually a beautiful thing that these guys that are from two different sides of California can actually realize a lot of the same mannerisms, a lot of the same ways they wiggle, a lot of the same flecha, a lot of the same things that they have in common, right? So we all know Jayhan's standings, my standings as well. We're in the same boat. Okay, we are both non-active Norteños for whatever reason. His story is his story. My story is my story. Okay, so when he tells this story about this Norteño getting removed or getting whacked, it was a crazy story when it happened because the Norteño got moved on allegedly by Southsiders. Okay, being a Norteño for a lot of years, man, we would not allow any other race, any other group, especially the most fucking disruptive group that we were against, the Southsiders, put hands on our people or even look mad dog or say bad things about our people without repercussions, right? That was first and foremost. Regardless of numbers, regardless of anything, you have to get off where you're mad at. You cannot allow your soldados or your people to be touched. But in this case, it was. Okay, in this case, a blind eye was turned for whatever reason. Now, according to what Jayhan's put out there and a little bit of what Lucky put out there yesterday, this Norteño was under the influence of alcohol, right? He made some wine or came across some wine and got faded. Now, I understand this. There's always been an unspoken rule, and it's a common rule in prison between North and South, or that Southerners actually do and Northerners do the same. You are not allowed to be drunk outside on that tier or outside of your cell. If you want to drink wine, cool, do your thing, man, but do it in your cell with your cellie, handle your business, and make sure when you come out of that cell, you are going to conduct yourself with a lot of professionalism and respect. Respect for yourself and your gente, respect for the other cars, and respect for the tira. Because the tier is all that matters at the end of the day. That's why when you're fishing or when you're doing anything, you yell out, hey, Spence on the tira, excuse me on the tier, can I have some tier time? That's just respect. You do it whether people are talking on the tier or not. Anyone who's been locked up on a level 4, level 3 yard, they understand this. Prison is predicated on respect, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Now, if you fuck up, you fuck up. Okay, that's just on you within your group, whatever. If you get dirty or bad politics pushed on you, this Spence side happens, man. If you find yourself in a situation where you need to jump and you don't, you already know what you got coming. By the time you are in prison, you should have already been clechad up and educated since county jail, since fucking reception. When I hear people ask me questions, what would I do this? What would I do that? Hey, homie, I could tell you everything, but you're already going to know by your own gente by the time you get to prison. You should be ready to rock and roll. You should be up to par. You should already know the program. And then when you get there, you will be pulled to the side. And after you're cleared, if you are in good standings, then they'll let you know exactly what it is. It varies from yard to yard amongst the Norteño collective as well as the Southsiders. But pretty much everyone is branching union, and it's going to be almost the same damn thing wherever you go. You got to just stay out of the bullshit and be ready to rock and roll whenever it's time to rock and roll. Facts, okay? Rock and roll, motherfuckers, like Delano Ferreira says. And he ain't lying when he says that. Some places are more rocky and rolly than others. So when I seen Lucky did this video, he basically was saying enough is enough. That he has watched Jayhan's, and he believes that Jayhan's is spewing controversy and not telling whole truths when he tells his story. Now, in Jayhan's story, he says that this Norteño was drunk on the tier and disrespected Southsiders. Now, automatically, when you disrespect the other side, when you disrespect someone in prison, it's on and cracking. Okay? Usually 9 times out of 10, your own people are going to check you because no one else can check you. I mean, if something happens disrespectful and it's just right in the spur of the moment, then it's going to crack off. That fucks it up for everyone. Whatever program you had going on in that yard, whoever was hitting for clavo, whoever was waiting for a visita and he hadn't seen his family in 10 years, whatever was going on, you just fucked all that up because you were drunk on the tier acting like a dumbass. Now, according to J Hands, this guy had status. Now, for those of you that understand that, it means he wasn't your average everyday northerner. He was someone in a position within the household called the COC, right? The chain of command. So basically, I don't know if he had the llaves, the keys to that yarda, if he was that one, but he basically was someone of a higher standard, of a higher status, right? And it doesn't mean he was better than anyone else. He just had more on his plate. See, people think because, and that's power hungry people that don't know what it is. Just because you get status, just because you dedicate yourself to a cause, that you're better than someone else. You're not. That just means anything happens there, you're responsible. It's just more drama for you, actually. The responsibility falls on your lap or falls on your shoulders. No did. So if this Norteño was, and J Hands got information saying he was, some people look at that as, why are you putting out that man's status? Why are you talking about that? Could get him validated. That could get him shut down. Now, I'm not sure if this man died or he was just stabbed up. But regardless of that, you don't speak on people's status. That's not you. That's none of your business. Whatever this man has achieved, he did that. So you could tell a story on YouTube, but you don't say, hey, this homeboy was actually, he had status, because people are going to look at that from the outside looking in like that's a form of dry snitching, or you're just putting too much information out there. And law enforcement watches, and I know you want a good story to tell, but at the end of the day, man, you have to draw the line somewhere and say, hey, there's just some things I'm not going to speak on. Even if it makes your spiel better, you got to be a man and understand that you're fucking other people's lives off. Even if they're fucking their own life up, you're contributing to that fucking up stage. You understand? So what Lucky was saying in his spiel was, because J Hands said that this Norteño was removed and there was no repercussions, and that the Southsiders were allowed to do what they did to him, to cut him up, right? Now, whatever the case is with this end of hostilities, whatever agreements they have amongst each other, unless you're participating in it, unless you're in prison during it, you'll never know. You can't be someone that didn't live through the end of hostilities, someone that's not locked up, and sit here and you can have your opinion, but your opinion really doesn't count if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Then you cannot sit here and proclaim to be a person that wants people to see the negativities of gang violence and what it is to be a gang member, and how it's, there's a lot of disloyalty and drama. And I agree, there is. I participated in it on both sides. So I understand that there is a lot of disloyalty. There's a lot of it's not everything it's cracked up to be. I think everyone knows that by now, but everyone has the right to make their own choice in and out of prison. Whatever they want to do, they do, right? And you can't sit here and say that's what you're steering your channel towards, then at the same time turn around and say that, if you would have been there, you would have jumped in and you would have handled your business. That's basically saying like these guys are suckers, or they're below what you were because they didn't handle business the way you wanted to handle business, or the way you say you would have handled business. At the end of the day, we could all talk shit. We could all sit here and say what we would have done, what we could have done, what we should have done. But at the end of the day, you're in the same boat as I am, J Hands. And that's, you're a YouTube content creator that's no longer a Norteño and shouldn't conduct yourself as one, because we don't have that coming, because we are not there anymore. We are not in good standings. We are not welcomed to our neighborhoods. We are not welcomed to the fucking carne asada. We are not welcomed. And once you get a good understanding of that and you realize the man that you are, then you realize all you have is familia. All you have is your word as a man. All you have is your pride as a man. And you don't need the gang behind you, man, to prove that. And I think you've said that a lot of times. I got to give the respect to Jans for saying that, but you have to show that too. You can't just talk it. You got to walk it, right? I understand the prison content makes good money. I understand the prison content, man. A lot of people like to hear the drama. And I'm not going to lie, man. J Hands does it quite well. But there are some stories, man, that I sit back and I wonder, where is the end game in this? You sit there and you ridicule people that are still in the life, like, I would have did it this way, or you should have done it that way, or, you can't be promoting violence if your whole agenda is to deter kids and people from violence. You understand what I'm saying? It's not a good look, man. So Lucky voiced that. Basically, enough is enough. He's watched enough to say, hey, man, you can't be two-faced. If you don't want, whatever the case may be, he feels with J Hands, man, is how he feels. Okay, I can agree with this with Lucky. Lucky, has never been on the other side. Okay, Lucky has never been part of a dropout gang. According to what I've heard and what I've seen from vatos from his neighborhood, he's never been in bad standings or removed from a yard, right? So this man can speak on intelligently whatever he wants and still keep his head up high. Now, myself, I've never been removed. Came close several times, man, for my own faults, right? And it's hard being in Norteño, man. They'll remove you for stinky feet, straight up. But never was. But there was a situation with me where I decided to, take the red on red into my hands and do what I had to do to secure my safety. And I said enough was enough on that yard. And I backed up, and I live with that every day, man. Sometimes do I miss the canalismo? Absolutely. Who wouldn't? That's all I knew since a little kid. But I understand, and I've never faked or lied to anyone. When it comes to my standings, I'm not active anymore, man. I'm a family man. I'm still going to tell my stories, have fun, do comedy, do what I do. But when it comes to issues about what guys should have done, I could have made a spill and said, oh, the homies. And that's when you start to show that still wanting to be something you're not, right? And it's instilled in you. So I get where J Hands is coming from. Like, oh, I would have did it like this. I would have did it. Quietly as it's kept, you can say what you would have done, man, but unless you were there, you don't know, and you don't know the understanding that these vatos came to. Now, I understand the idealisms of the past that I was laced with, the education, as well as J Hands, according to what he's told people and his status and all that. It was different, homie. It was much different back then. Yes, man, we wouldn't have allowed Southsiders to put hands on our people, but those are no longer our people, okay? They are our brown people. And it's a bad look to see brown people fighting and stabbing each other. But you're no longer a Norteño, no matter how would you slice it, dice it, or cut it. And you don't speak or represent the Northern cause just like I don't. That's why I do what I do and I fuck with who I fuck with, because I'm no longer of that mindset. And sometimes I catch J Hands still in that mindset, or maybe he alludes to that mindset. But I understand it's not his fault. It's just a way of thinking that's instilled in him. Now, I agree with Lucky. Enough is enough. You can't sit here and still play the role like of what I would have done when you didn't make the cut, just like I didn't make the cut. You have to get a grip and understand that if you want to see less people incarcerated, if you want to see less people caught up behind gang violence, then you have to say that and mean that. You can't sit here and tell stories and breaking news. You could do whatever you want, but I'm saying, in other words, you can't say breaking news, I'm going to give you some in-depth, the Norteño, because it's making you look like you have an agenda to push poison, to push negativity towards the group that you were once amongst. And even the Southern group that you have, no willings and dealings with. It just doesn't look good. Now, I said I want to make another video about Renegade Media a while back, disrespecting, and I don't think I'm disrespecting. I think I'm being blunt and straight up. I support every person that's on YouTube trying to get the bag, man. I ain't mad at him. I support Lucky in his endeavors, man. And I like the way, man, when I was going through my court case and everything, he spoke highly of me. I appreciate that, and I'll never forget it, man. That vato could have said whatever he felt, and whatever he felt, he said, man, and it was real, and I appreciate that. He wasn't choosing sides. He was just being a man of understanding, and I'll forever be indebted to him for that. And anytime he needs help, I'll help him. Just like anytime Renegade Media needs help, I'll help him, and I've done that in the past. I want him to understand that I'm not a hater. I don't hate, the fact that he's blown up. I'm glad that he has. I told him in the beginning, bro, I hope you blow up. I'm just of an understanding that, sometimes, Holmes, sometimes there's things that should be left unspoken. to sit here and tell people, you know, hey, that gang life is all bullshit, man. They're just going to use you. They're going to utilize you. They're going to spit you out, man. And then turn around and say, man, if I was there, I'd have fucking did it like this. I'd have did it like that. The thing is, you weren't there. And even if you were there, you wouldn't be there. Because you can't be there. Because you've already been removed from there. You know, it doesn't make you less than. It just means you fucked up somewhere along the way. And you have to have accountability. And understand that, yeah, I fucked up. Or, yeah, it was a bad call. Whatever the case may be, love your life. Love your family. Love the position you're in now. Be happy that you're blessed and in a position to make money in your own home. Be blessed that you have a beautiful family and children and a home. You know, I see a lot of people go in on myself and Jay Hands. Oh, this Vatos had to relocate. He moves here, there, there. Look, my thing is this, bro. Go wherever you want. You're a grown man. Do whatever's best and in the best interest of your family. Never let another man tell you what you can and cannot do. I'm not going to be the one to do that. I'm also going to be the one, though, at the end of the day to tell you, you know, you can't play both sides of the coin. You're either in or out, and you're out, just like I am. That's a fact. Now, Lucky, on the other hand, man, for those of you that ain't tapped in with them, that Vato gives real klecha. That Vato gives real game and life experiences. I appreciate that about him. But I see he's taking a dislike, or maybe not even a dislike, but he just doesn't like some of the things that Renegade Media is putting out, and to each their own. I understand that, man. And I got to say, enough is enough. You know, people that are persuaded that a person is one thing. See, anyone can get on YouTube and tell you anything. I could have got on YouTube in the beginning, wore a mask and told you I was active as fuck, and could have went in on Southsiders or even Norteños and could have had everyone convinced that I was the world's greatest Southsider, right? And no one would have knew, and there would have been a lot of people that rocked with me because of my comedy and because of my stories, and I could have fucking lied and put myself into stories and involved myself and put twists and according to my agenda and pushed it. No one would have ever known, and I could have been talking to these rappers and these gangsters and everyone, and no one would have known. But instead, I chose to be transparent as a man, come in here with my own face and let you know exactly what it is with me. You know, I've never been a coward. Never. I don't think Jay Hands is a coward. I know Lucky ain't a coward. Dubs ain't a coward. People I associate with ain't cowards. You know, but we are grown men that have families, and each one of us love our families more than we love this YouTube and the gang. I guarantee that. So to sit here and talk about what we would have done if we were in that position, you could always live vicariously through other people, man, but that ain't you. The best thing to do is worry about you and your own, man. This is not a comadre spill. I'm not trying to hate on Jay Hands. I got respect for what he's doing. Just at the end of the day, he's playing a dangerous game, man. And I think Lucky recognizes that, man. Everybody wants to see this Vato live. That's it. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive for what I truly believe in. And before we get to all that, let me tell you something. The whole gist of Renegade Media's video was how the Norteños let the Southsiders whack one of their own of status, right? Without doing anything. Homie, that's none of your business. Just like it's none of my business. Whether, the story was a Norteño got whacked by a Southsider. Wow, shit, it happened during the end of hostilities. Wow, that's crazy, man. It's different nowadays, I guess, right? But the way you're making it look is like the Norteños are in there getting punked by the Southsiders and just doing nada about it, man. You know, how can you hate the people that you fucking grew up and strived with forever, man? How can you hate them so much to put them on blast? I don't get it. It's the gun. Bang, bang.